Happy Wednesday! Welcome to episode 1 of Wind Down Wednesday with Janis. So we thought we'd start this little kind of a Wednesday thing. Maybe some of it'll be tips on different things that that are going on in the market. Maybe we'll be talking about drinking wine. Tonight we're going to talk about a few things. So welcome to the Montalvo house. I'm going to share with you one of my favorite gadgets that I use during the holiday season. We're going to talk a little bit about putting your house for sale during the holiday season and some things to think about. We're going to talk about, one of my favorite decorating ideas. And lastly, we're actually going to talk about the wine. We're going to talk about the wine. We're going to talk about the glasses. We're going to talk about the opportunity to taste the wine. We're going to talk about one of my favorite apps. So lots of fun things to talk about. So first of all, let's start with my favorite gadget during the holiday season. It kind of is my favorite gadget like all year long, but truly at the time of Christmas, I just love this. So a few years ago, Ben got me one of these, and it's called a Zap. I think he got it on Amazon. This one does 5. I actually stopped into Martin's, and they have one too. It actually had an indoor and an outdoor. It's a remote controlled outlet. So one of the favorite things I love is when you walk in the house and you're like, we have to turn on all the Christmas lights. Well, let me just share. So you just take your little remote control and you're like, 1, 2, 4. Oh, wait. Way up there. Oh, that Christmas tree light's on. This Christmas tree light is on. Maybe. I don't know what I just did. Anyways. So it just controls them on and off. So you can turn them on, turn off, turn off, turn on. And it's not like a clap it or anything like that. You know, you're sitting there, you fall asleep on the couch at the end of the day, and you're like, oh crap, I got to turn all these lights off. You're like, wait a minute. And oh, by the way, the fireplace is remote controlled. Funny enough, the one that I got today from Martin's came with an indoor and an outdoor one. So I hooked the outdoor one up to the chickens. That's the chicken's heat lamp. So if they don't start laying some eggs pretty soon, let's just turn off the lights for them. Lights on, lights off. I'm sure my 3 chickens that I inherited in a real estate transaction are probably kind of freaking out right now. Honestly, girls, you need to start laying some eggs. That's what I'm feeding you for. So that's my favorite gadget. Again, you can get it. I think it's 43% off at Amazon. It's always super cheap when you go to Martin's. I walked in today and I said, I want a remote controlled outlet. And they were like, a what? And next thing they hooked me up. They have a nice end display that has several of them. She took me down the aisle. There's several different options. You know, we just living in the country, we don't have really great internet service. So when you don't have great internet service, the ability to not have to do things that are internet related with just a remote control is great. The other thing that's interesting about them is it actually turns off the outlet. So you're going to save energy throughout the year. So, there's always options. I love the fact that our lights come on at dusk and they turn off at dawn. You know, our Christmas lights are all on a timer like yours are too. But this is just something that you can use inside your house or out that's a little bit different. So that's my favorite gadget. And Ben's probably taking a lot of pride in the fact that I'm going to talk about something that he got me for Christmas. Oh boy. Okay, second of all, let's talk about getting your house ready for the market. So a lot of times people are, this isn't really a good time to sell my house. Should I wait until spring? You know what? Here's my answer. Your house has never looked better. At least I feel like mine has never looked better than it does during the holiday season. So the buyers are super motivated. And again, who knows what's going to happen with this spring market? Interest rates are definitely going to jack in 2019. And who knows? Several houses could come on the market and we could turn from a seller's market to a buyer's market. It's just that whole crystal ball. People are like, what do you think is going to happen? Well, you can listen to everyone and their opinion. But then again, no one really knows until the market hits. So no one would have ever predicted that we went this low when we went through the foreclosure market. No one would have ever guessed that many people lost their houses. There were signs, but then again, it was just a bad market. So we're in a great market for sellers right now. Buyers are out there. They're serious. They're looking. They're not just out kicking tires and going, hey, let's go for a Sunday drive. Because, oh, by the way, I think the sun was only out for about 15 minutes today. So a couple of things about getting your house ready for the market. Of course, you're going to want to get a clicker so that all your lights come on at one time. But the one thing I think that happens is a couple things. Sometimes people like overdo things. So they forget about the fact that, you want your kitchen cabinets to be your countertops to be as cleared off as possible. And if they're cleared off, then it makes your kitchen look a lot bigger. There are, like in my house, I love the fact that I can display everything up on top. I can put some cute little lights up on top, but it gets everything off the counter. So if you walk in my house, you're going to think that there's just a ton of counter space. Although I can tell you that I can pretty much get it down to 0 counter space at any given time. The other thing that I tell people, and sometimes people laugh, but how you have like those really nice cushy rugs, maybe it's a mat that you put in front of your sink, maybe you put it in front of your stove, maybe you have it in your bathroom. Pull them up and put them away for showings. Because I'll tell you what, I'm blessed with beautiful hardwood floors in this kitchen, but if I would have put those mats back down, your eye would have immediately gone when you walked into my house to those mats. So just pull them up. Always be thinking about the fact when buyers are coming to your house during the holiday market, they're going to be definitely excited about your decorations. They're definitely going to be looking at things throughout your house. They definitely don't want to see 5,343 different things on your refrigerator. So, which brings me to another point, smells. I always think it's interesting when people are like, oh, this house smells so good. What are they trying to hide? You've got between candles, you've got the little plug-ins from Bath and Body and Glad and all those kind of things, or Glade. But, really think about the fact that you may like those smells, but someone else may think they're offensive. I personally love the smell of those pine. I love, I don't know what the Bath and Body Works one is, but I love the smell of that. But sometimes that can be overwhelming to people. So always keep that in mind when you're thinking about smells. Try to keep it maybe one smell, maybe just a little bit. Don't go over the top because that sometimes can turn people off on your house. So, okay, my last thing is people say, you should definitely depersonalize your house. You know what? I agree with that. I love the fact that sometimes you walk into a house and you're not going to feel like it's their house. You want to be able to place yourself there. But this time of year, my favorite thing is that sometimes you go to the mailbox and it's either bills or possibly the other thing you could have in there is another request from a nonprofit. As this is the time of the year. They're really banking on these last minute donations to help them into 2019. I'm happy to report that in 2019, Living in Lenawee Realty will be giving back 5% of our gross commission to the local nonprofits. So local nonprofits here in Lenawee County or in the county in which the house is sold or purchased. And we're going to try and reboost some of those nonprofits by giving back. So we're going to be really intentional about supporting the nonprofits in our area. So that's exciting. Okay, back to my favorite time of the year in mail. So you go to the mailbox, you pull out the mail, you're like, okay, magazine, bill, request, and then all of a sudden you come to a Christmas card. So you open your Christmas card, you read the letter, you look at the picture, then what do you do with it? If you're like me, you could have possibly like piled it into like a pile of crap, and then you were like, oh yeah, I probably won't ever look at that. But to me, my favorite thing is to display them on my kitchen cupboards. I can tell you pretty much who everyone is from. Of course, Miss Olivia came in the mail today, so that's always fun. But and you get a lot of great Christmas cards. This one is actually from Catholic Charities. I love like the child's drawing. I love to see people's dogs, Carrie Hartley's dog and Rogers's dog. I love to see what's happening with families throughout the year. I love to feel connected. And when you walk into your kitchen, sometimes it's not about who's walking into your house during the holiday. Sometimes it's about, hey, I'm pouring myself a cup of coffee and good morning to my friends and family. So that's my decorating. It's really just, for me, it's just a piece of string. I tied some little ornaments on it last year. Oops. And then I just put them up there with a clothespin. So I love hanging my clothes on the line. Some of them are new and bright. Some of them are, a little bit aged. But again, it's just another way to display them. And then as it continues to grow, they're going to go throughout my kitchen. Okay. So that's my favorite thing. That's my favorite decorating. You know what my favorite gadget is? You got some home tips. So you probably think we should talk about wine. So both these two wines, I stopped into Boulevard Market, and both of them you can test tomorrow night from 6:30 to 8:30. For $5, you can taste wine and beer along with cheese. My two favorite things, cheese and chocolate. Definitely both go along with wine. You know, I'm a firm believer in you drink what you like. So I'm fairly confident at any given time you can stop into my house and you can definitely find a nice sweet white wine. I don't like sweet white, so when somebody gives it to me, I just save it for my friends to stop over. I also think, you know, there's all different kinds of glasses. There's a red wine glass. There's the, in dog years, I only had one. But my favorite, truly, is these Vivinos. So it's a plastic wine glass with a little place for your thumb to go into. And they're dishwasher safe. So that's probably one of my favorite wine glasses. With that being said, so what do I think about these two wines that Erika sold me? So let me just give you my opinion. First of all, let's talk about the trim wine. So the trim it's mildly fruit with blackberry and plum notes. And then the Rack and Barrel, well, let's be honest. It's a Cab, a Zinfandel, and a Peach Syrah. And I'd give you my opinion on it, but there really wasn't any kind of wine talk on my app. So my favorite app is called Vivino. And Vivino is, if you look at it, it's probably the same picture. You take a picture of the label and it gives you a rating. It tells you what the average price would be. It tells you that this one is 3.6 out of 5. But it's interesting because one of the things they said is for the price, this is a really good wine. It's a really good cab for the price. And it really is. I mean, it was definitely a good buy at Boulevard Market. And then you kind of go through and it, again, rates and it tells you what people think about them. That's where I got some of my BS wine talk. But truly, again, I truly believe that it's really about what you like, what you feel like you want. You want a sweet white? You want a dry white? You want a dry red? You want a sweet red? Probably I can find you something. So this is really about what Wine Down Wednesday is all about. Talk a little bit about wines. I taught you a little bit about an app. Let's talk about what the market's doing. And you know what? This week on Saturday, on our Saturday Spotlight, I'm going to be with Erika at Boulevard Market. We're going to talk about some last minute gifts and how quick and easy it is to do last minute gifts at Boulevard Market. She can hook you up with a lot of things. And it's not just about wine. I think you'll be surprised at all the stuff that Erika has at Boulevard Market. For the food connoisseur, for the wine and beer connoisseur, for me and my last dying meal, we'll definitely have some kind of cheese in it. She's going to talk a little bit about cheeses. So I invite you to join us on Saturday at 7:43 a.m. as Erika and I get together for Saturday Spotlight. So thanks for joining me. Happy Wednesday. Enjoy your wine and have a blessed and beautiful Christmas season. And we look forward to having you join us again on Wine Down Wednesday with Janis. God bless.